Hello aspirants, welcome back to Daily Current Affairs Analysis by Civics and IAS, where we break down the most relevant and high impact topics from the UPSC CSE Prelims perspective. Well, let's start the video. See, the first article says that hypertension is among the 5 risk factors for the cardiovascular diseases, but it can be managed. Enough in this context, let's talk about the cardiovascular diseases and let's talk briefly about the hypertension. See, as the name suggests, cardiovascular diseases. Now, what are these cardiovascular diseases? So, as the name suggests, the diseases refers to the group of disorders affecting the heart, that is your cardio, and the blood vessels, that is your vascular system, leading to the conditions such as heart stroke and also heart attacks and also the hypertension. So these cardiovascular leads to the heart attacks, heart strokes and hypertension related complications. Now, in the same context, let's see about the hypertension. This hypertension, which is also known as silent threat. This is also known as silent killer. Hypertension is also known as silent killer and it is a silent threat to the heart health. And see, this hypertension, or which is also called as the BP, blood pressure, is one of the 5 top risk factors for the cardiovascular diseases, but yet it remains widely undiagnosed and uncontrolled. Now, in India, 1 out of 4 adults suffer from hypertension, but over 50% are unaware of their conditions. Now, even among those diagnosed, only 10% successfully manage. Out of these 50% who are diagnosed, only 10% can successfully manage their BP, making it a major public health concern. Now, as we said that BP is also called as silent killer because it gradually stresses the vital organs, increasing the risk of heart attacks, heart strokes and also the kidney diseases and also kidney related diseases. And see, frequent BP fluctuations further elevate the cardiovascular risk. Frequent BP fluctuations further elevate the cardiovascular risk, making the early detection and control as essential. So, to prevent and control the hypertension, adopting a balanced lifestyle or a good lifestyle, positive thinking and stress management, mainly positive thinking and stress management is very crucial to our lives. And additionally, to monitor BP regularly, limiting intake of salt. That is 5 grams per day is enough. 5 grams per day, and maintaining a healthy weight and waist circumference and ensuring at least 7 hours of sleep. Plays a vital role in keeping the blood pressure under control. So note that prevention is always better than cure. Right? This is about our hypertension and cardiovascular diseases. Now, moving to the second article, it says that according to IMD, February this year was the warmest ever since 1901. Now, in this context, let's talk about IMD and also see the causes of record-breaking February heat in India. Now, firstly, talking about the IMD, that is the India Meteorological Department. It was established in the year 1875, which operates under the Ministry of Earth Sciences and serves as India's central agency for weather monitoring and forecasting and research, and it also plays a crucial role in providing the real-time meteorological data for key sectors such as agriculture. For agriculture sector, it provides the meteorological data and irrigation related areas, aviation also, and also disaster management, majorly the disaster management. And additionally, it issues severe weather warnings for the cyclones, right? For cyclones, monsoon failures, and also for the storms. So basically, IMD gives data on these sectors. By giving this data, it helps in minimizing the economic and human losses. Now let's see the causes of record-breaking February heat in India. See, so the unprecedented warmth in February 2025 this year can be attributed to a combination of global and regional climatic factors like your climate change and global warming. Climate change and global warming, which remains the primary contributors with raising of greenhouse gases, emissions trapping the heat and leading to the long-term temperature increase. And additionally, the El Nino phenomena, right? El Nino phenomena. What it does, it warms the Pacific Ocean, and thereby disrupting the global weather patterns, pushing the temperatures higher across India. And other major factor is western disturbances, right? Western disturbances. Now what it does, see, these western disturbances typically bring cooler air and winter rainfall to India. Remember, western disturbances brings the cooler air and winter rainfall to the North India. And this year, the reduced intensity and frequency have led to the fewer cold spells, allowing temperatures to rise abnormally. And also, if you see the urban heat island, this effect further aggravated the situation with rapid urbanization, deforestation, and concrete structures absorbing and retaining the heat, making the cities significantly hotter than the surrounding rural areas. Right? So these are the causes. And furthermore, there is a reduced fog. This year. Reduced fog and also the cloud cover. So due to this, over the Indo-Gangetic plains, there have been diminished natural cooling effects as clear skies allow more solar radiation. To reach to the surface, thereby increasing the daytime heat. And with these all factors combined, February 2025. So Feb 2025 this year became the warmest in recorded history, and prolonged heat waves are expected in the coming months also. So take the precautions and be safe. Now, moving to the next article, it says that core sector output growth slowed to 4.6% in January. Right? So it is telling the core sector output growth slowed to the 4.6% in January 2025 from 4.8% in December 2024. According to the Commerce Ministry data. So this data is given by the Commerce Ministry. Now in this context, let's talk about the core sectors. Okay. See, now what are these core sectors? As the name suggests, core sectors of an economy represents the key industries that play a crucial role in driving the industrial growth and economic development. In India, there are eight core sectors. They are your electricity, steel, refinery products, crude oil, coal, cement, natural gas, and further last is fertilizers. And significantly, these influence various industries and account for about 40.27% of index of industrial production, right? 40.27% of index of industrial production, making them vital for measuring the industrial performance. So, see, to track their growth, the index of 8 core industries is calculated monthly by the Office of Economic Advisor, and this Office of Economic Advisor is under the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, that is DPIIT, and this comes under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, right? Now, and this index reflects the production performance of these sectors both individually and collectively, helping policymakers access the economic trends and also the industrial output. Now, given their substantial contribution and fluctuations in core sector performance, they have a direct impact on overall economy. Influencing the investments. They also influence the investment and also the employment and infrastructure development. So, a strong core sector leads to a more resilient and growing economy, while the weakness in these industries can slow down the industrial expansion on also the GDP growth, industrial growth and also the GDP growth, right? So, thus, monitoring this core sector output is very crucial to strengthen these core sectors, which remains the essential for the sustained economic progress, right? Clear with the concept? Now, Moving further to the next article, it says that after 3 cats and a bird were found to have the highly pathogenic avian influenza, that is H5N1 virus in Madhya Pradesh, Chhindwara, a market was shut down for 21 days and over 700 chickens were culled to prevent further spread of the infection. So now, in this context, it is important to know about avian influenza, which is also known as bird flu. See, it is a highly contagious viral infection. Remember, it is a highly contagious viral infection. Now, it is caused by a subtype of influenza A. It is caused by a subtype of influenza A virus, and it primarily affects the wild and domestic poultry. And first highly pathogenic H5N1 strain was identified in the year 1996 in the southern China. Right? Remember this. And although human infections are rare, but the transmission from birds to humans can occur. But person-to-person spread remains unlimited, with a high mortality rate of approximately 60% as per the World Health Organization. Symptoms range from mild fever, cough, and also muscle aches, and severe symptoms includes like pneumonia, breathing difficulties, cognitive issues, and also it occurs the seizures, and severe symptoms occurs the seizures also. So now talking specifically in India, this avian influenza in India was first reported in the year 2006 in Nawapur in Maharashtra, which is in Maharashtra. So this H5N8 strain emerged in 2016, and to control the spread, India implemented the detect and cull strategy under the National Action Plan for Prevention Control, National Action Plan for the Prevention, Control and Containment of these avian influenza. Now, there is no specific treatment exists for the birds, no specific treatment, but it can be cured with the antivirals, which reduces the severity and also the mortality. Right? Clear with this avian influenza? So it is a viral infection caused by a subtype of influenza A and was first identified in the year 1996 in southern China. And in India, it was first outbreak occurred in 2006 in Nawapur in Maharashtra. And for control and treatment, we use the detect and cull strategy, which is mentioned under the National Action Plan of 2021. Right? Now, moving to the next article. The next article says that recently, on the occasion of release of 19th installment of PM Kisan in Bhagalpur, Bihar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the 10,000th FPO. 10,000 FPO. Now, what is this FPO? Let's talk briefly. This FPO, which is also known as Farmer Producer Organization, are the collectives of farmer producers, registered under the Companies Act or Cooperative Societies Act. Remember this is important. Now, these are aimed at leveraging economies of scale in agriculture and allied sectors also. And these organizations, remember, they are supported by the Small Farmers Agriculture Consortium, that is FAAC in short, under the Ministry of Agriculture. This is important, under the Ministry of Agriculture, to enhance the production, marketing and also the financial access for the farmers. Now, why these FPOs are important? See, FPOs addresses key challenges such as limited access to technology, inputs and finance, along with the weak marketing power. So, through collectivization, farmers gain better access to the resources, markets and financial support, ensuring the sustainable and income-oriented farming. Now, if you see the primary objective of FPOs, they include the enhancing productivity, providing the efficient resources use, and also offering the capacity building support for up to 5 years. Right? Now further, if we see, these FPOs provide essential services like including quality input supply like the seeds, fertilizers and pesticides, and also machinery hiring, value addition and market aggregation to secure better prices for the farmers. And also they also support in promoting the income generating activities like seed production and also beekeeping. Right? Now if you see some of the key initiatives of FPOs, they include such as Credit Guarantee Fund, which provides credit covers for the loans, while also platforms like ONDC, which enable the digital marketing, And also additionally, this conversion of 10,000 FPOs into common service centers expand the rural services, further strengthening the agriculture ecosystem. Right? This is all about FPOs. Now if you see FPOs are collective of farmers producers under the Companies Act or Cooperative Societies Act, and they are supported by the SFAC, that is Small Farmers Agriculture Consortium, which comes under Ministry of Agriculture. Right? Now moving to the next article. It says that India's first dedicated space-based solar mission, that is Aditya L-1, has made a groundbreaking observation as one of its scientific payloads, which has captured the first ever image of a solar flare kernel. So, the Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope payload has captured the image in the lower solar atmosphere, that is the photosphere and chromosphere. Now, well, in this context, let's talk about Aditya L-1 mission. See, Aditya L-1 mission was launched by ISRO in the year 2023, and it is India's first dedicated solar observatory, which is designed to study the sun's outer atmosphere, layers, particularly the chromosphere, and also corona. It's not corona, it's corona, remember here, and their impact on space weather, and their impact on, that is how the chromosphere and corona are impacting the space weather. And the PSLV C-57 rocket, remember this is important. So the PSLV C-57 rocket initially placed the spacecraft in a lower Earth orbit, from where it journeyed to its final position at the Lagrange points L1. Now, what are these Lagrange points? See, they are the stable location where gravitational forces of Sun and Earth, both the gravitational forces of Sun and Earth will be balanced, enabling the continuous solar observations. And further, the mission's objectives includes studying the chromosphere and corona of the Sun, studying the coronal mass ejections, analyzing the sun's magnetic field, and understanding why the corona is extremely hot, compared to the sun surface. Corona is usually hot compared to the sun surface, where in corona you can see 1,000,000 degrees Celsius, whereas in sun surface you can see 5,500 degrees Celsius. Additionally, it also aims to investigate the acceleration of solar wind particles which influence the space weather conditions. And to achieve these goals, Aditya L-1 carries the advanced scientific instruments, including the visible emission line coronagraphy, that is VELC, to study the solar corona, and also the SUIT, that is the Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope, which captures the UV images of the sun, and also the ASWAP, that is the Aditya Solar Wind Particular Experiment, to analyze the solar wind particles, and also the Solar High Energy Particle Experiment, that is SHIP, which detects the high energy solar particles. And by continuously monitoring the sun, this machine enhances our understanding of solar activities, contributing to the better space weather predictions, and also improved protection for satellites and communications network on the Earth. Now, moving to the next article, it says that India's real gross domestic product, that is your GDP, grew 6.2% in the October to December 2024 period, and the third quarter of the fiscal year picking up pace from 5.6% growth recorded in the previous quarter, according to the data released by the National Statistical Office on Friday. Now, in this context, let's talk about the GDP. Now, what is GDP? See, basically, GDP represents the monetary value of final goods and services produced within a country in a given period, usually a year. and significantly, it serves as a key indicator of economic health, reflecting the nation's output and growth. And further, this GDP is measured at the market prices using a base year for the comparison with its growth rate, indicating the economic expansion or recession. And further, the economic growth phases are linked to the GDP, where positive growth leads to the job creation and also higher incomes, while the negative growth leads to the job decline and also the spending drops. That is, we spend less amount of money in the recession time, right? And now, this business cycle influences the GDP through peak, contraction, trough, and also the expansion phases. This is a business cycle which influences GDP through peak, contraction, trough, and expansion phases. Now, remember, GDP is classified into two types. One is the nominal GDP and other is the real GDP, where this nominal GDP is measured at current prices reflecting the inflation, and this inflation is not adjusted. Nominal GDP which measures at the current prices, and the real GDP which measures at the actual growth, and this inflation is adjusted, right? So real GDP is adjusted for inflation, measuring the actual growth. Now if we see the formula, real GDP is equals to nominal GDP by inflation factor. Nominal GDP by the inflation factor. So remember, it is very important. In India, the base year was revised to 2011 to 12 in the year 2015. So the base year is 2011-12. Aligning with the international practices and also replacing this GDP at the factor cost. Replacing the GDP at the factor cost with the gross value added at the basic prices. Remember, it is very important. So aligning with the international practices, the GDP is replaced at factor cost with the gross value added at the basic prices. And these changes improve the industry-wise estimates and accuracy in measuring the economic performance. Now, this is all about your GDP in brief. Now, moving to the next article, it says that the Central Board of Trustees of Employees Provident Fund Organization, headed by the Union Labour Employment Minister Mankush Mandavya, in its 237th meeting held Friday, recommended keeping the interest rate for the financial year 2024-2025 unchanged from previous year at 8.5% for its over 7.4 crore contributing subscribers. So basically, the interest rate was unchanged, keeping it 8.25%. Now, in this context, let's talk about EPFO, which is a statutory body established under Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1957, and further, it operates under the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Remember, this is important, Ministry of Labour and Employment, which serves as one of the largest social security organizations in the country, both in terms of beneficiaries and also the financial transactions. And if we see, this EPFO plays a crucial role in managing the retirement savings for millions of employees and ensuring the financial security post-retirement. And also additionally, it acts as a nodal agency for implementing the bilateral social security agreements with the other countries, facilitating the social security benefits for international workers. So, through its extensive reach and structured framework, EPFO continues to enhance the financial protection and also social welfare for the Indian workforce. Now, moving to the next article, it says that India is the third largest economy in the world and its uses economy ranks 28th in the world according to a report. So now, in this context, let's talk briefly about the India's digital economy and global standing. See, as we know that India is the third largest economy in the world, right? Third largest economy in the world, but its digital user economy ranks 28th globally. Digital economy ranked 28th globally, indicating a gap between the digital access and participation. Well, the country has achieved high levels of digitalization overall, but the average India's digital adoption and spending remain the modest compared to the global standards. Now, whereas, see, if you see, internet connectivity in India is comparable to the other nations, but see, the digital transactions and economic engagement are relatively lower. So, according to the IER report, India's digital economy is growing at twice the rate of its overall economy, with the projections that by the 2029 and it will contribute 1/5 of its total GDP. Now, despite the current disparity in the rankings, there is an immense potential for the investment to enhance the digital penetration and also the user engagement. Now, if we see, the report assesses India's digital progress using the CHIPS framework, which includes C for connectivity, H for hardware, I for internet, P for policy, and S for security. This is the CHIPS framework. So, based on this framework, India ranks 8th globally when considering its overall economic position and digital economy standing. So, with the strategic reforms and investment, India has the opportunity to strengthen its digital economy and bridge the digital divide, ensuring the inclusive growth in the upcoming years. Now, moving to the last article, it says that India must accelerate reforms to achieve high income status by the year 2047, which would require an average annual growth rate of 7.8%, said the World Bank's new India Country Economic Memorandum on Friday. Now, in this context, let's talk about the gross national income, that is your GNI. See, this GNI measures the total income earned by a country's residents, including the GDP and foreign investment. While it provides a broader economic picture, it also has limitations due to the currency variations and population differences, making the cross-country comparisons challenging. Now, according to the World Bank, moving from an upper middle income to high income economy is difficult, with only a few nations like Chile, Poland, and Czech Republic achieving this transitions. For India to reach the high income status, its GNI per capita must raise from $2,450 to over 14,005 by 2047. So it should basically increase from 2,450 to 14,005 in the year 2047, and with this we become the high income status countries. So to achieve this, India must sustain reforms and accelerate the growth. Under a business as usual scenario, investment may peak at 37% of GDP by 2035 with a 6.6% of its growth rate. However, with stronger reforms, investment could raise up to 40%. So there is a general increase of 37% to increase of 40% of GDP, increasing the growth to 7.8% annually. And the key reforms include improving the credit allocation and also the MSME sectors, deepening the corporate bond markets and also the credit access of MSMEs, and also the public investments in agriculture, urban development, and also transportation sector, which stimulates the public sector participation, and also further lowering the tariffs and also easing the trade barriers and promoting the FDI will further boost the economic growth and integration into the global value chains. So by strengthening the financial sectors or financial systems and fostering the investment and expanding the reforms, India can position itself as a high-income economy by the year 2047. So, with this, we conclude today's current affairs analysis and we'll be back tomorrow with another video. Thank you.